I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to our special session of Neshaminy School Board. I think we'll start, of course, we'll start with roll call.
Mr. Paratano? Mr. Parentano, are you here?
Steve, roll call.
Present. Roll call, Steve.
Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mrs. Bowman? Mrs. Bowman?
I can barely hear you guys. Did you call my name?
Yes.
Jim, the speakers
Yes.
aren't on.
Here, the audio's awful. I can barely hear you guys.
Got it.
Got it. We're on it.
Ms. Boyle?
Here.
Mrs. Hollenbach?
Present.
Mr. Kovitz?
Here.
Mr. Barrington is absent with prior notice. Mr. Cirillo?
Here.
Mr. Sullivan?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Folks, the speakers aren't on. Jim's working on it, so use your
Did she say that?
Jim voice.
Adam, you forgot?
What?
Did she call you?
She got me.
Okay.
Thank you, no, I'm good, I'm good.
Okay. You and I can hear Marty really well. Everything else is mumbled.
All right, well, while Jim's working on that, why don't we start the meeting with our pledge of
Pledge of
allegiance?
allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty, justice for all.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Nailed it. You should go another.
Yes. You have any announcements?
There are no announcements.
Announcements. That brings us to our first public comment. Please approach the podium. And
Yes, I do. Tricia Lowrick?
Good evening, my name is Tricia Lorig. I live in Feasterville. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician who's actively practicing and treating patients. I've had 18 months now of dealing with COVID and its effects on the lives of all of my patients, both adults and children. My daughter is supposed to be starting kindergarten at Tawanka this fall. At the last meeting, I spoke to you about the rising number of Delta infections and the fact that it was starting to infect children more than previous variants. I personally would like to see our children stay in school for the year in person without shutdowns or for outbreaks. I would like also to see these children not have post-acute COVID syndrome and have neurological and learning deficits that we cannot even quantify yet. Per the CDC, we are now in a substantial transmission rate. We have 91 cases per 100,000 and our percent positivity is 4.71%. We are this close to high transmission. You already know that universal masking is needed. The CDC and the AFP are telling you that. So I don't need to waste your time telling you something you already know. The Bucks County Commissioners, obviously by their actions this week, know that as well. I would like to focus, however, on the lack of COVID case reporting and contact tracing in your health and safety plan, and ask that before the next meeting, you review this. Your plan states that since the Bucks County Department of Health will not require individuals to report a positive COVID test or issue isolation orders, or require Neshaminy to notify COVID contacts, the school district will be doing none of this. However, unlike the easily accessible guidance for schools from Montgomery County, Chester County, and Philadelphia County Department of Health, I have not been able to obtain a written copy of these recommendations from the Bucks County Department of Health, even though I asked for copies of this from numerous entities. The Pennsylvania Department of Health states that schools should refer to CDC guidance for COVID-19 prevention in K through 12 schools. One of the key points in their guidance is that localities should monitor occurrence of outbreaks. How are you going to monitor outbreaks and prevent our classrooms from being super spreader locations when you are not requiring parents to report a positive COVID case? Ignoring the existence of COVID does not make it go away. Saying there were no positive cases in our schools because parents aren't required to report it doesn't make that statement true. What it does is open the school district up to liability for not following basic public health measures during a pandemic. Again, I ask, why should I be notified if a child in school has lice, which is just a nuisance, but not if a child in school has COVID, much more than a nuisance? I have heard it stated that it is too hard to contact trace. Well, too bad. I've heard the expression that anything worth having is worth fighting for. If we want to keep our schools open and not have entire classes and schools shut down by one unmasked positive student, we need to have isolation and quarantine protocols. Since the beginning of the pandemic, physicians and healthcare professionals across the country have done everything they can to avoid bringing the virus home to our families. We have protected ourselves at work. We have done the hard work. We've changed before going home, done strict decontamination routines when we got home before even daring to hug our own children. My daughter now asks me, "Did you shower yet?" when I get home from work, before she will even come near me. We have sacrificed so much for the public over the last 18 months. Please do not destroy all of that by destroying our ability to keep our children safe. Please review your health and safety plan and protect our children. Thank you.
Next is Michael Schumacher.
So I'm the same topic. I can defer until the second public comment if you want, or? Okay, okay.
That's all that was signed up.
Please state your name and residency.
My name is Michael Schumacher. I live in Levittown. Good evening, Chairman and Superintendent. I'm speaking today because I can't make it to the meeting on the 24th. These are some of the experiences I've already had as a parent. I have experienced having a child on a ventilator. I have seen a code blue called because my daughter was non-responsive 5 times. I have experienced the middle of the night call from the hospital informing me that my child's heartbeat and breathing stopped registering on the monitoring equipment. I have driven much faster than I should to get to CHOP, hoping that my child is still alive. I have worried about what long-term effects my daughter may have for the rest of her life. These are experiences that did not occur because of COVID, but could now. These are experiences that I do not wish to relive, and no parent should have to endure. You, Superintendent, and board members have the ability to drastically reduce the chances of this happening to the Neshaminy families that you serve by requiring masks in schools. New Jersey has done this. Delaware has done this. Philadelphia has done this. Montgomery County has done this. These are our neighbors. The Neshaminy School District and Bucks County are not on a magical island that is protected from the world's issues. Everyone around us is taking precautions. Numerous times you've said that Dr. Damsker at the county is the only one that returns your phone calls. The AAP and CDC don't need to return your phone calls. They've already said what you should do given the case counts in the area right now. You don't have to look to Harrisburg or Doylestown for advice. Be leaders in Bucks County and do what must be done to protect our children and give our schools every opportunity to stay open so that our children can get the education they need and deserve. You don't want to be 2 weeks into the school year shutting down schools because of outbreaks that could have been avoided. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Not signed up? Okay. Moving on, I need to read item 2.01 on the agenda, suspension of policy number 006.1. Whereas Board Policy 6.1, attendance at meetings via electronic communications was approved and adopted by the district on October 24th, 2017, in accordance to Pennsylvania School Code and local district guidelines, providing for only one board member to attend by teleconferencing or electronic communication. Whereas Board Policy 3 permits the board to suspend a board policy by a majority vote. Now, therefore, be it resolved that in accordance with Board Policy 3, the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the temporary suspension of Policy 6.1, which is attendance at meetings via electronic communication, until the next meeting, so as to remove the maximum number of board members permitted to participate in a board meeting via electronic communication or teleconferencing, and counted towards a quorum, and to remove the requirement that a quorum be physically present. Vote on that.
That's a motion, you need a second?
Need a second?
Second.
Hearing a second.
Discussion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes. Motion passes. I'm sorry, 8-0. Sorry. Can't count tonight. That brings us to our agenda item for personnel. 3.01, Personnel Administrative Appointments. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the appointment of Donald B. Irwin, Jr. as the District Business Administrator effective August 7th, 2021, pursuant to the terms and conditions of the employment agreement attached to this agenda as reviewed and approved by the District Solicitor and Superintendent, and approves and authorizes the execution of the agreement by the Board Secretary and Board Vice President pursuant to 24 PS Section 4-428 of the School Code. There's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hollenbeck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carries. Also 8-0.
Congratulations, Mr. Irwin.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Mr. Irwin. That brings us to item 4.01, other board business. Hearing no other board business, that brings us to our second round of public comment. The podium is open. Anyone? Donna? All right, that brings us to our board comment. Anyone have anything to share this evening?
Welcome back, Don.
Thank you, Tina.
Yes, welcome back, Don.
Thank you.
No other takers? Anyone online? This is fun. 4.04, yes, moving on. That brings us to 4.04, which are future meetings that are listed under the agenda. I believe our next board meeting, this board will meet on August 24th at 6 p.m. I'm sorry?
7 o'clock. Executive
Oh,
meeting.
sorry, you missed that, 7 o'clock, yes, go ahead. 4.05, keep doing that. Close the meeting, motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Certainly no discussion. Moving on, call the meeting closed.
There we go.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.